Hi, I thought I would try something a little different. I'm actually in my studio recording this, and I'm surrounded by my paintings, and you can hear that it's got tall ceilings, it's a bit echoey. Anyway, you'll hear my feet walking around, and so basically I'm here in my studio at the Drill Hall in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I've been working on a body of work since January when we moved into the studio. This is a shared space between me and my husband, Stuart Bremner, but I'm using the space mostly now. Anyway, so basically what I've got is about 13 paintings in total in a range of sizes, but mostly large, 30 by 30 inches. Some are a little smaller than that, but not by much. Some are square, some are rectangular. I seem to have a fairly limited palette of some sort of sky blue, dark, rich red, yellow ochre, Naples yellow, charcoal, a few other random colors here and there. And there seems to be orbs that are floating about. If you've known my work for very long, you've probably noticed there have been orbs, or sometimes what I used to call comfort shapes, or heart pods, or there's several names for them. I haven't really used them in quite a while, so I was surprised when they appeared in my work once again. This time they're bigger, they're more in the foreground, they're bold, they're dark, they're filled with colors, sometimes volume, sometimes textures, and layers into something in the background of the painting. Sometimes there are two orbs, or sometimes there's an orb and a half. They're oblong, they're balancing, sometimes they're quite flat. And I think these orbs probably represent emotions or thoughts, are part of where I am coming from as I'm painting these works. This is the first large body of purely abstract, non-collage based work that I've created in quite a long time, and this is my first big body of work where I'm returning to the use of color. For about the last 4 years, I've mostly painted in kind of a monochromatic palette and white, with words and paper and other things within the paintings. So it's been a really interesting experience to sort of return to my roots and just pure painting. These are all done in acrylic, which I'm a trained oil painter, but it's actually been quite nice to go back to acrylic because I've always been a fast painter and impatient, and so this gives me that quickness to working that I like. And then I'm using charcoal as well, and I've always enjoyed charcoal and that dark richness, the dustiness, the dirtiness. I've always liked work that has bright, punchy colors, but kind of feels a little filthy in the best possible sense. Something sort of old or bedraggled, but at the same time pure and punchy and poppy. So it's a fun mix of those two loves of mine: color with a limited palette, making the most of what I've got, and then this sort of charcoal dust that settles over things, falls into the edges, delineates the orbs. And so I'm just trying to get my head around it as I've been working on it. This has been a long process. This painting series has been a little slower than some of my other series. I think a lot of that has to do with just getting used to painting here in this studio. I've only lived in Edinburgh for a little over 6 months, almost 7 months, or maybe it is, 7 months now. And so a lot of it's been a learning curve, ordering supplies, materials, things like that. But mostly it's just been a real thrill for me to be working on this work and following along with it. I've always kind of liked to let the work pull me along. I didn't start off thinking I was going to come and make this particular body of work. It doesn't even have a name or a series title. All of that will come soon. I'm always open, and I let the work inform me and tell me what this is about, and I have some ideas. and the work kind of pulls at those ideas and maybe teases them out of me. But that will actually become a separate process from the actual painting of the work. The work will get painted, and then later I will sit with the work and kind of listen to the work and see what it's telling me and what it's expressing. Many people who have seen preliminary pieces and works of progress have said the work is bold, punchy, it feels strong. And these are all wonderful things. I love hearing that. I mean, to leave everything behind in my life and sell all my possessions and get on a plane and move over here and start my life over, is big, is bold, is, punchy. And I think that is reflecting in these paintings. Also, in these paintings, I can control the emotional aspects of what it feels like to leave everything behind: family, close friends, familiar situations, and to start again. And this allows me to sort of control some of those emotions: fear, anger, uncertainty. I can mystery even, because there are some mysterious elements emerging in these paintings. I don't even quite know where they're coming from yet, but I'm sure they'll let me know. And I think a lot of that has to do with the mysteries of moving here, making it work, starting a new life, making friends, making a life for myself, and also just getting it in my head that I'm not visiting. This isn't a temporary thing. And so I think this body of work is probably taking all of those elements that I've been wrestling with and thinking of and sort of encapsulating them. Maybe these pods are encapsulating these ideas and putting it in sort of an alien landscape. When I've said, and this is one idea I may have about this work, is that when I was at home, I was painting very cool, cold, atmospheric, cold pieces for the last 4 years while I was living in Arkansas. Now that I've moved here to Edinburgh, where it's gray and misty and atmospheric, now I'm ready to use these bright, hot, warm colors, kind of like the colors which are much more representational of where I come from than where I am. So I think back and forth, working through all of this is definitely coming out in these paintings. And basically, I just wanted to try this out, kind of think about, how it would be if perhaps I do a more regular kind of a podcast about my work, my thoughts about my work, see if this is something patrons of mine and friends of mine are interested in listening to. It also helps me solidify some of my ideas as I'm looking at the work. So I'm just standing in the middle of my studio looking at everything that I've done recently and kind of formulating these ideas as I look at the work, which is really helpful to me, and hopefully you find it interesting to listen to as well. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there and have a little experiment. And if you have any other questions, or if you have ideas for things that I might talk about in future podcasts, I would really love to hear it. All right, well, thanks. Talk to you later. Signing out from Studio G23.